I spent 3 years in jail because of my brother. While in jail, I accidentally saved the life of a big tycoon's son, who out of gratitude gave me $100 million. The moment I got out, I immediately called my dad to share the good news. But the second he heard my voice, he hung up. I got worried, felt like something bad had happened at home. So I rushed back quickly. Just as I reached the door, I heard my sister-in-law Shalin's irritated voice from inside, rushing about a property transfer. I couldn't even get a prenatal checkup done. When he comes back, he can go find a rental place himself. I don't want to live with an ex-prisoner, but it's for his own good. After all, the house money came from him. Hearing her words, my hand that was about to knock on the door froze in midair. My fingers started trembling uncontrollably. I've been used to it since childhood. Mom and Dad always loved my brother more, but he was always close to me. I went to jail taking the blame for his mistake. He can't be this heartless, right? I took a deep breath and knocked on the door. All the sounds inside suddenly went quiet. Mom opened the door and was startled to see me. Then, avoiding eye contact, she patted my shoulder. "Lynn, how did you get back so quickly? Your dad was just saying he'd go pick you up." Hearing her fake concern, I just felt cold inside. If I hadn't been standing outside listening to them, I might have stupidly trusted them. But now, seeing their hypocritical faces, I just felt disgusted. No matter, taking a taxi is easy these days. As soon as I went inside, my brother's wife gave me a look of disgust. Then she picked up an alcohol spray and doused me with it. "Don't take it the wrong way. Just removing your bad luck." I gave a bitter smile. She was looking down on me because I was an ex-prisoner. But she should remember that I went to jail taking the blame for her husband's mistake. I said nothing and headed straight toward my room, but I barely climbed 2 steps when Dad grabbed my hand. "Don't go up. There's no room for you in this house." He had a cigarette in his fingers, and the ashtray near the sofa was full of fresh cigarette butts. It was clear my return was irritating him. "Dad, I was in jail for 3 years. I didn't die. How can it be that I'm not even worth a room anymore? Surely your brother won't agree to this." Just then, my brother came out of the bathroom. His face had a strange awkwardness. "Bhaiya, there are so many people in the house and only so many rooms. How will we all fit?" Seeing his uncomfortable face, my heart sank. I laughed coldly. "Before, we all used to live in the same house? I was only in jail 3 years. How did space suddenly become short? By what right are you throwing me out? Don't forget, I bought this house with cash." Hearing this, he suddenly slapped me and pointed his finger, saying, "Just because you bought a house, you think you're some big shot. Have you come home or to collect a debt? Am I asking you for the house back? You people won't even give me a single room." My dad snarled in anger, eyes flashing and said clearly, "Listen up. There's no room for you in this house. If you want to stay somewhere, go outside and rent a place. We're giving you nothing." I froze right there. I was trembling with anger. A pile of emotions was surging inside my chest. Wow, what a thing to say. Do you people not take me seriously at all? Who was it crying and begging me to take their blame? Who was saying I was this family's greatest benefactor? And now I'm only asking for what's mine. My own room. Is that too much? Remember, at that time, Mom and Dad were crying and telling me my brother studies at a prestigious university. His future is very bright. His life shouldn't be ruined because of one accident. They also said that when I came out of jail, the whole family would reward me properly. I didn't need any reward. I just felt sorry for my parents and I loved my brother. That's why I went to jail in his place to save him. I lost my job, sold my car, wiped out all my savings. But I never thought that in return I'd get not family love, but betrayal and being completely broken. And now I'm only asking for my room. But the whole family is joining together to throw me out of the house. Tears were falling silently, but I clenched my teeth so I wouldn't lose control of myself. "Bhaiya, in these 3 years while you were in jail, we also went through a lot of difficulties. Now you want to come back and live in the house. What will people think about us? Why can't you think about us?" Suddenly, I shook off his hand and pointed at him with ice-cold eyes. "Senton, don't forget that you were the one who should have gone to jail. You were the one who dragged the family's reputation through the mud. You're enjoying the fruits of my sacrifice, living in my house, and on top of that, blaming me for not thinking about you all." Hearing this, my younger brother's face went very bad. "I already thanked you. What more do you want? I'm your younger brother. Wasn't this all your duty?" His careless attitude cut me deep inside. My mom and dad started taking his side too. "An older brother is like a father. You did something for your brother. Are you going to hold it over his head now? Why are you so small-hearted? Solin, you're grown now. Even if you have to live alone in a rented place, that's fine too." Every word of theirs was cutting through my heart like a sharp knife. I lifted my head and closed my eyes, forcing myself not to cry. A sad smile came to my lips. "No wonder you people didn't come to visit me in jail even once in 3 years. So actually, you all considered me just an embarrassment. Fine. From today, I'm cutting every relationship with all of you. Don't regret it later." Saying this, I walked out of the house without looking back, leaving behind that house that had not even a bit of human warmth. I wandered alone on the streets for a long time. Finally found a hotel where I arranged to stay for a few days. I contacted a lawyer online, paid quite a heavy fee. The house I bought with cash is in my parents' name. Can I get it back? The lawyer said if I could prove I was the real buyer by showing original payment receipts, property papers and such, then I could get the house back. I've always had the habit of keeping documents safe, so all of that was secure with me. I hired that same lawyer to handle the whole matter. After giving all the instructions, I lay down on the bed. Looking at the 9-digit balance on my phone, I sank into deep thought. I want the whole family to regret today's decisions. The next day, I went straight to a villa sales office. Taking advantage of a promotion, I spent all 100 million at once and bought 10 fully furnished villas with cash. I kept one for myself and put the remaining 9 up for rent. Just from the rent of those 9 villas, more money than I needed started coming in every month. 1 month later, I got a call from Dad. Have you gone crazy, Senel? How dare you file a lawsuit against us? You really did come back after serving jail time. That's why you've become so clever. I could almost see Dad's angry red face through the phone. I just smiled lightly. I said with sarcasm, didn't you teach me all this yourself? I want this house back, not because I need it, but because I don't want ungrateful people like you living in it. I ignored his curses and hung up after saying just that. As soon as I put the phone down, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find an extremely attractive and beautiful girl standing outside. Hello, landlord. I'm the tenant of Villa number 2. My name is Subhang Nuan. She vaguely came back to me. She was the first tenant who had rented my villa. The deal had gone very smoothly. She'd signed the contract right then. I looked at her with a calm expression. Seems she had some work. Subhang lightly pushed her hair back. Her cheeks were slightly red, and her eyes were full of a request. My housewarming party is tonight. My classmates want to meet that millionaire landlord who bought 10 villas at once. Can you come and support me? I went quiet for a bit. Seeing this, Subhang Huan quickly came closer. She lightly held the edge of my sleeve with her fingers and shook it gently, speaking in a very soft voice. Landlord Bahai, please, I'm begging you. I told them we're very close. Can you help me? Saying this, she joined both hands and tilting her head slightly, looked at me. I melt quickly in front of gentle people, and after her many requests, my remaining hesitation disappeared too. Finally, I let out a breath and agreed. Okay, I'll come tonight. Hearing this, Subhang's eyes lit up, and she went away jumping with happiness. At 7 in the evening, as promised, I arrived at Subhang's place. Just as I was about to go inside, a familiar voice came from behind. San Lin, you followed us all the way here. I turned toward the voice. It was my younger brother Senaton and his wife Seelin. The moment they saw me, his face suddenly changed. His eyes were full of disgust. Swan came near, confused, looking at me and my brother. Do you two know each other? Bang, this is my husband's ex-prisoner older brother. Does nothing all day, just keeps scheming to grab our property. Before her words were even finished, everyone's eyes landed on me. Eyes full of disgust, curiosity, and mockery. A heavy pressure fell on me. Hearing her lies, I clenched my fists. A cold shiver ran through my heart, while I was looking at my brother like I was watching some clown. First, I have zero interest in following you people around. Second, I became a convict because I served jail time in your husband's place. Third, you looked down on me calling me an ex-prisoner, but you refused to leave my house. So who's the shameless one? My words were sharp enough that people's eyes fixed on my sister-in-law with even more interest. Feeling the crowd's various stares, my sister-in-law furrowed her brows and in a suspicious tone said, Seelin, don't talk nonsense. That house is Senaton's. What does it have to do with you? Anyway, the lawyer's notice has already arrived at the house. Hope you stay this stubborn in court too, bye. I know you just got out of jail and don't have a place to stay, but that room was kept for our baby. We're family. Do you really need to make all this so ugly? I looked at her with cold eyes. The more I listened, the more my heart was freezing. I genuinely couldn't understand how that little kid who used to follow me around everywhere calling me Badi Baya could become someone who would throw me out of my own house. Then why didn't you remember we're family? Just a little while ago, when your wife was insulting and humiliating me in front of everyone, why didn't you say we're family then? Seelin saw that everyone was watching us, but instead of being embarrassed, she became even more arrogant. Looking me up and down with disgust, she said, Senaton, a billionaire landlord bought this villa. You're not thinking of creating a scene here, are you? Her voice was loud, her tone completely arrogant, like she herself was the owner of the villa, and I was some rat that had sneaked in. Hearing this, the people present started looking down at me and making fun of me. Right then, Swan Van came and stood in front of me. Her brows were furrowed. Seelin, isn't there some misunderstanding between you all? No misunderstanding at all. Senaton, I'm advising you to leave here right now. The millionaire landlord is about to arrive. If you upset him, you won't even know what hits you. Led by Seelin, everyone started cruelly pouring out their hatred on me. At that very moment, I finally clearly saw everyone's true, ugly faces. Swan, who had been confused until now, the moment she heard Seelin's words, her face went even paler. Now she couldn't take it anymore. Trembling with anger, she suddenly came and stood in front of me. Seelin, shut up. Mr. Senaton is my guest. If you're going to badmouth him like this, you're not welcome here. Leave right now. Seelin angrily shoved Swan Huan, then walked over to us with arrogance. Her face was full of contempt. I immediately caught Swan Huan. A strange pain was rising in my stomach. My own closest people were putting me down, but Swan Van was standing up to protect me. And who are you to throw us out? You're not some millionaire owner. The one who's going to leave is him. Hey, Bangin, has he fooled you? We're only telling you this for your own good. Be careful he doesn't take advantage of you. Subhang Ban looked at my brother and his wife with anger. Her breath was coming fast. The ones leaving are you two. Senaton is that millionaire landlord who bought 10 villas at once. Subhang Ban's voice wasn't very loud, but in the silence that had fallen over the hall, it landed like a hammer on everyone's hearts. All the noise suddenly vanished. It felt like even the air had frozen. Only the sound of heavy, sorrowful breathing could be heard. The mocking smile frozen on Seelin's face didn't even have time to disappear. She froze right in that expression. Her eyes went wide and she stared at me. Her body was trembling slightly with shock. She just couldn't connect this man in cheap clothes, this just-released ex-convict, with that millionaire who had blown crores on 10 villas. Bangin'! You're joking! How can he be the owner? He doesn't even have a place to stay. He's poor. Senaton, standing to one side, had gone paper white, as if all the strength had left his body. The hand he had holding Seelin went limp and dangled down. He knew me very well, and I knew him. In my eyes, he didn't see anger, only a coldness, as if I was looking at a stranger. That same coldness was filling him with a fear he had never felt before. Bahaya, what's happening? Where did you get so much money? I didn't answer his question. I just stood there, feeling how those eyes that had been looking down at me now held respect, curiosity, and shame. The feeling was strange. The social status that money gives it had fully shown itself in that moment. I looked at those so-called family members who had been acting like victims in front of cameras. Even seeing them broken, I didn't feel the happiness of revenge, just an endless sadness. Subhang Nuon instantly sensed the tension in the atmosphere. She didn't step back. Instead, she took a step forward. She came and he stood right beside me. This small movement of hers was clearly declaring her side in front of the whole hall. Senaton, Seelin, the contract I signed was with Mr. San myself. Because you people aren't respecting my special guest, you are not welcome here. Please leave right now. Don't wait for security to come. Seelin opened her mouth as if she wanted to create another scene. But the moment her gaze met Subhangban's cold eyes and the accusing stares of the people around, her last bit of arrogance broke too. She awkwardly grabbed her branded bag, the same bag bought with my money, and now it had become the biggest irony of all. Senaton lowered his head. He didn't have the nerve to look at me even once. Then he took the broken Seelin and walked out of the villa in shame, under everyone's eyes. The lobby's automatic doors slowly closed, leaving those greedy souls outside in the dark of night. The party music started playing again, but now everyone's eyes toward me had changed. I knew this was just the beginning. The house they had seized, the dignity they had trampled, I was going to take all of it back, one by one. Meanwhile, even after being thrown out of the villa,
Seelin and Senaton had no realization of their mistakes. Instead, hiding in an old rented apartment, they were grinding their teeth staring at a phone screen. Seelin was scrolling through Subhangban's moments over and over. Jealousy had twisted her face. She just couldn't accept that the ex-convict she used to trample under her feet had suddenly become a millionaire. By what right does a useless guy who was in jail deserve to live in a villa? His money definitely isn't legal. He must have done some dirty business in jail. Wife, he's already hired a lawyer too. Our house probably can't be saved now. If it can't be saved, then something he can't enjoy peacefully either. I don't care about my reputation. I'll completely destroy him. Then let's see if he has the nerve to stay in this villa colony. Seelin was typing rapidly on her keyboard. Within moments, a post appeared on screen that twisted the truth and was inflaming people's emotions. In her story, I had become a devil who had completely lost his humanity after getting out of jail. Not only did I want to snatch my aging parents' retirement home, but I was also violently threatening my younger brother. The article's title was Searching for Lost Humanity, the criminal brother who got out of jail and pushed his whole family to the brink of disaster. That article went viral on local forums. Internet users who didn't know the truth started hurling abuse at me. Reading those poisonous comments was enough to make your soul shudder. I was sitting in my large study, looking at property documents sent by the lawyer. Just then, my phone started vibrating like crazy. Calls were coming from countless unknown numbers. The moment I'd pick up, only abuse and threats from the other end. I cut the calls and gave a cold smile looking at the private messages constantly pouring in on screen. This level of cyberbullying was nothing compared to what I'd endured in jail. Just then, Subin came in carrying a tablet. Her face was even paler than the previous night. She ran straight over to me and showing me the trending list on the tablet in a panicked voice said, "Mr. Sen, look quickly. Seelin and others are doing a live stream showing themselves as victims. Now everyone is abusing you. They've also put your exact address up," I said in a calm voice. Figured apart from tricks, what else do they have left? On screen, Seelin was wiping tears in front of the camera, while Senaton was sitting with his head down, sighing, as if they were homeless victims. The live chat comments were coming so fast they were hard to read. Everyone was abusing me. Some people were even writing, "We'll go ourselves and teach him a lesson." On screen, Seelin was crying loudly saying, "Can anyone understand me? We took care of this house for 3 years and the moment he came back, he threw us out. We have children. How can he be so cruel? He's a disgrace to the name of family." Subhang looked at me nervously. "Mr. Sen, you have to clear the truth or your reputation will be completely finished. The neighbors are also misunderstanding you. Give a clarification. There's no hurry. Let them bounce around a bit more. The higher they climb, the harder they'll fall." I didn't let the internet comments affect my mood. On the contrary, I was in an ice-cold calm. I dialed my lawyer's number. My voice was calm, but the authority was clearly showing. "Lawyer Jean, all the proofs on the internet have been collected, including the accounts that are deliberately defaming me." From the other side of the phone came the reply, "Don't worry, Mr. Sen. All the defamatory rumors and rights violations have been officially notarized. Just waiting for your one order. They won't just have to pay compensation. Criminal charges can be filed too." Watching Silen's hypocritical face in the live stream, the last hope of family affection that remained in my heart was completely extinguished. Since they had chosen this path, I would also give them a big gift. I turned off the tablet. I went to the large window and stood looking at the peaceful lake. The storm raging on the internet was for me just the beginning of their downfall. Online comments were spreading like a plague. Even the Villa Colony neighbors had gotten alert. People were standing in small groups pointing fingers toward my house. Their eyes held suspicion and investigation. Right then, led by Senatin, my parents arrived at my door shouting loudly. They had an old broken loudspeaker in hand, and it looked like they intended to sit there permanently. Senatin, come out right now. Ungrateful son lives in such a big house and lets his own father stay in a rented place. Don't you have any conscience left? My mom sat down on the ground, wiping tears and slapping her own thighs. Come everyone and see, my eldest son got out of jail and changed. Doesn't even recognize his own mother anymore. On top of that, he's filing a lawsuit against us. Does such a thing even happen in this world? I opened the door and came outside. I stood calmly looking at that ridiculous drama playing out at the bottom of the stairs. The neighbors' whispers grew even louder, but inside me there was a strange calm, even a kind of relief. Dad, Mom, I gave you a chance. That house I bought with my own money. I never said you couldn't live there. You were the first ones to try to throw me out. The house is in my name. It's mine. Now that you have money, buy us an even bigger house and also apologize to your brother. I looked at their greedy faces, then turned my gaze towards Senatin hiding behind. He was recording everything on his mobile phone. It was clear he wanted to post it on the internet to get more sympathy. I smiled lightly. Recorded well. The more proofs there are, the faster the judge will give a decision. Senatin's hand was shaking. For a moment, a flash of guilt appeared in his eyes. But the very next moment, pulling himself together, he went back to acting righteous in front of the phone camera. My parents kept creating a ruckus for a while. Then security guards forcibly removed them. The hall became quiet again. I was sitting on the sofa, looking at the endless abuses in my phone. At the same time going over the details the lawyer had told me in my head. Just then Subhang knocked on the door and came in. In her hands was a bowl of hot noodles. Her eyes clearly showed worry, as if she was afraid these rumors and defamation would completely break me. Brother Sen, eat something first. Don't take seriously what people are saying outside. The truth will come out sooner or later. Thanks, Bangwan. I'm not that fragile. The jail years were far harder than this. I comfortably started eating the noodles. Subhangban sat in front, quietly watching me. Her unconditional trust was feeling very precious in this evil time. But I think your parents aren't going to give up this easily. Tomorrow they'll probably create trouble again. Don't you really want to make the proofs public now? Let them create their scene. The more noise they make, the easier it'll be to get them caught in legal provocation and defamation. I'm in no hurry to counterattack. I'm just waiting for the right moment. A moment when all the lies completely evaporate in the sunlight. A moment when those attackers don't even have a place left to hide. Moonlight was coming in through the window. Reading it on the cold legal documents, I picked up the pen and signed my name on the last power of attorney. In this long night, I wasn't feeling anger. Instead, I was feeling more clarity than ever before. I knew the justice that was mine was coming to me step by step, and those greedy people would ultimately pay the price for what they'd done. Online insults had now reached their peak. Sealin, watching the growing audience and constant donations flowing in the live stream, was so happy she couldn't contain herself. Her eyes weren't seeing the insults, they were seeing straight cash. Senatin was sitting next to her. Though some restlessness was still remaining in his eyes, with the greed for money and fame, his last bit of remaining conscience had been extinguished too. John, look, everyone is abusing that ex-convict Senatin. When his reputation is completely destroyed, then we'll put pressure through the media. Those 10 villas, sooner or later, they'll be ours. Senatin said in a low voice. Wife, we put even that old prison admission notice online. If he turns around and says I served jail in his place, then what? Counterattack. Counterattack on the basis of what proof? All the evidence disappeared a long time ago. And besides, Mom and Dad are on our side. Who's going to believe an ex-convict? Right then, in Villa number 2's study room, I was silently watching Silen's twisted face in the live stream. Swan Van was standing behind me. She had the tablet gripped tightly. Her breath was coming fast with anger. Brother Sen, these people are very cruel. How can they make up such big lies? Are we really not going to clarify anything right now? Relax. Let them fly around in the clouds for a bit. The higher they go, the more it'll hurt when they fall. I looked at the dark sky outside the window. I wasn't feeling anything in my heart. This blind madness was just the last sparks before the storm was about to hit. The next morning, without a shred of shame, Seelin showed up outside the villa with her parents and a gang of social media bloggers. They blocked the villa entrance with full fanfare. Cameras and microphones were set up everywhere, as if no dramatic moment should be missed. My mother sat down at the main gate, slapping her own thighs and wailing loudly. Her screaming voice stopped even the surrounding neighbors. Everyone come and judge. My eldest son got out of jail and became an animal. He wants to throw his own parents out of the house. On top of that, he's filing a lawsuit against us. Does such a thing happen in this world? Journalists were pushing forward like sharks that had smelled blood. Their microphones had almost reached my mother's face. Meanwhile, on one side, Senadin was acting weak, holding tissues in between. But his eyes kept sneaking peeks inside the villa. I opened the main door and came outside. The sun was a bit sharp. The moment people saw me, the crowd immediately erupted. Abuse and accusing questions came toward me like an avalanche. All right, that's enough. Seal-in, so you finally had the guts to come outside. Do you have the nerve to show the property papers in front of all these journalists? Shameless person? Senatin was hiding behind the crowd. He didn't even have the courage to look me in the eyes. I looked at these so-called family members acting like victims in front of cameras. I only felt disgust. I will definitely show the property papers, but not right now, and I want all the journalists to be witnesses so that when the truth comes out, everyone can see who was lying. The whole atmosphere suddenly became strangely quiet. My mother's crying suddenly stopped. She looked at me in surprise. A slight nervousness was sparkling in her eyes. Standing amid silent screams and journalist cameras, instead of hurriedly defending myself, I reached into the inner pocket of my jacket and pulled out some perfectly arranged copies. Those papers were shining in the sunlight. They were bank transfer records and account transactions from when the house was purchased 3 years ago. I handed those copies to the journalist standing at the front. The moment his eyes fell on the amount and the payer's name, his excitement instantly changed to shock. The surrounding reporters immediately came closer, and camera clicks started echoing continuously. 3 years ago, I made the complete payment for this house in 3 installments. Total 4,20,000. Every payment came from my personal account. My mother, who had been sitting on the ground creating a scene until now, suddenly stopped crying. She stared at those papers, then looked towards Senatin standing behind her, with eyes begging for help. Senatin's face went white. He instinctively backed up a little into the crowd. So what? The property title is in Mom and Dad's name. You're just dreaming. There's no point regretting it now. Journalists started whispering among themselves. Public opinion was slowly starting to shift. I looked at Seal-in's forced arrogance and just laughed. She thought the law only looks at the title, but she didn't know that a complete evidence chain was enough to shatter all her dreams. So Lawyer Yan, please explain to this madam what the difference is between legal holding by representation and illegal occupation. Lawyer Yan, standing to one side, adjusted his glasses, opened his file, and his cold professional presence instantly quieted the whole noisy atmosphere. The confrontation outside at the gate was still going on, but I turned around and went back into the living room. Subhangban handed me a glass of warm water. Her hands were still trembling slightly. It was obvious she had been scared by the earlier madness. Brother Sen, those people still haven't left, and Seal-in is probably calling more people on the phone. I took out my phone and opened the private message sent by Senatin. Due to the pressure at the gate, the brother who always hid behind women was finally starting to break. In the voice message, there was a slight pleading and deep fear clearly audible. Bihaya, please take those bank records back. If the company finds out that I took this house from you, I'll be ruined. I listened to the message but didn't reply. People like Senatin only remember I'm their brother when their own interests are in danger. I turned off the phone. My gaze went outside the window where my parents were acting like victims in front of cameras. They had sacrificed 3 years of their eldest son without hesitation for their younger son's future. And now, to protect the younger son's house, they wanted to permanently destroy the elder son's reputation. For them, family affection was just a bargaining chip to be used at will. Outside, Zhao Lin seemed to have gotten another call. Her face suddenly went white. She looked toward the second floor of the villa in fear, and her phone almost fell from her hand. I understood Lawyer Zhang's second legal warning had arrived on her phone. The real mastermind behind the cyber violence was now finally starting to feel the cold of the law. At that very moment, when Senatin was about to start a new drama by shouting again, outside the crowd, a black Rolls-Royce slowly came and stopped. Its number plate had special repeated numbers. The appearance of that car silenced the whole noisy atmosphere in an instant. Even the most aggressive bloggers lowered their stabilizers without thinking. The car door opened, and a young man with an imposing presence stepped out. He was wearing a high-end custom suit. He ignored the shocked stares all around and walked straight toward me, where I was standing on the stairs. In front of everyone's disbelieving eyes, he hugged me and said, "Brother Sen, I heard you've been having some trouble since you got out of jail. Do you need help?" I smiled lightly. "Young Master Lin, it's just some family matters. But how did you find out?" This young man was none other than the only son of the richest Lin family, Lin Chen, the one whose life I had saved 3 years ago in jail. It was him. His presence there was like an invisible slap on the face of every person present. A young master of Lin Group, impossible. How could he know an ex-convict? Lin Chen looked at the crowd with cold eyes. Ex-convict? He saved someone's life and served punishment in place of cowards who didn't have the nerve to take responsibility for what they'd done. The accident files from 3 years ago, I've already sent them to lawyers for investigation. The truth will come out very soon. The moment they heard the word truth, Senatin, hiding in the crowd, suddenly shuddered. The strength went out of his legs and he fell straight to the ground. What he feared most had finally happened. The involvement of the richest Lin family meant that the entire edifice of lies he'd built through his whole life was now about to completely crumble. The moment Lin Chen arrived, reporters immediately changed their target. Now they weren't asking me why I was throwing out my parents. Now they were frantically asking about the suspicious points of the accident from 3 years ago. The storm's center had now become Senate indirectly. Meanwhile, inside the living room, the top-tier legal team brought by Lin Chen had now taken complete control of all public communication. Zhuan Gun was busy serving tea and water for me. Seeing this suddenly receive support, the worry in her eyes finally disappeared, replaced by admiration. Brother Sen, you were very naive back then. Sacrificing anything for such a family was not worth it. I smiled lightly. At that time, I thought family was everything. Now that everything is clearly visible, there's a strange kind of relief. Right then, my phone rang. Dad's call. This time, his voice didn't have the earlier arrogance and abuses, just a broken, begging voice. Xiaolin, please tell young Master Lin to stop. If he gets sentenced and arrested, our whole family will be finished. He's your own brother. How can you watch him get destroyed?